you. Hi everyone, I'm Jaap, or some of you know me by Jaap Verbaas. I'm the VPX of Go Cobalt. We're a junior exploration company. We trade on the CSE under the ticker GOCO with about 62 million shares outstanding and a market cap of $9 million. As you can see, I'm going to be making a few forward-looking statements. So with Go Cobalt, we're focusing on battery metals. We're not only focusing on cobalt, although that is the major product in our flagship property. We're also very much interested in other battery metals such as vanadium, copper, nickel. So it's, with batteries, it's not only it's not only the storage of energy, but we also should be thinking of the transport of that electricity. So copper is big on our portfolio too. We have a vanadium claim right now as well. We have two properties. I'll go into both of them. We're also actively evaluating nickel projects. And another thing about batteries that I'd like you to take away from this image is that it's not all about the passenger vehicles. There are batteries in everything, including folding bikes. Anything you can name that you used to use without batteries contains batteries. Our flagship property is the Monster property. It's 90 kilometers north of Dawson City. It can potentially be serviced by two airstrips, which you can see on the image with the stars. Those are within 10 kilometers distance. The claim is centered on the Wernicke breccia, which is an IOCG project. And the Wernicke breccia is the rocks that I'm very familiar with. I wrote my PhD thesis on them, finished that about 1.5 years ago. And the interesting part of these rocks really is that I was able to find very good evidence that correlates the Wernicke breccia with the IOCG deposits on the Gawler Craton in Australia. And of course, the Gawler Craton is host to the Olympic Dam deposit, Oak Dam, Carapatina, and several other exciting projects. So we're using that as a model for our exploration here. That material is published, and I can get it to you if you're interested. So this is a copper cobalt claim. We had a successful season in 2018. This is a total magnetic intensity map. We see several large anomalies on this map and several small ones. The smaller ones are at the surface. Here we're looking at the Bloom target. You might have seen it in news releases. Around some of these shallow magnetic anomalies, we find high-grade cobalt. This sample yielded 9.6% cobalt, which, from what I hear, is about 100 times what you find on average out there. Other surface showings here around this magnetic anomaly show that there is some relation of the magnetics with the mineralization here. And we're really excited by that. Here you see a vein that's probably a weathered vein with erythrite staining on the side. If the contrast worked out a little better, you'd see that half of the image, or half the rocks, are pink, which is a cobalt-bearing mineral. Regardless, we've had up to 9.6%, 3.2% cobalt and copper in grab samples, and we think there's a high potential in the subsurface as well. Why? Because we've inverted our magnetic data, and the three large magnetic anomalies you see in the east of our claim show up as three very large anomalies in our data inversion. All three of these magnetic anomalies are about 1.5 to 2 kilometers wide. The mineral association here is a little tricky, and it's not clear if we're going to be targeting cobalt and copper directly with these magnetics, but they are somehow associated, and we're going to figure out how the mineralization really works on this claim before we get a drill hole in. A part of that is a gravity survey, which we're planning for this season in combination with additional geophysics, such as EM. We have $300,000 secured in flow-through for this claim. We're going to add to that from our other working capital, which is about $1 million right now. So we're set for our exploration this year. We also have a vanadium lead zinc property, which is a property in Quebec. This is vanadium, lead and zinc in shallow, flat-lying sediments. potentially open pittable. It's 1,800 hectares, it's road accessible. It's recently has yielded grades of 2% vanadium pentoxide and over 1% lead. Historical samples are higher than that, with up to 5% zinc and 8.75% lead as well. So again, this is a polymetallic claim, which we're excited by, and we will be doing some work on this summer. So why would you trust us rather than another company? We've got an experienced board of directors. We are really concerned about who works on our project. So in the Yukon, we're really trying to find the right people to interpret and to work on our data. So to give you an example, we've done a spectral survey on our property. It was done by an IOCG specialist who has a lot of experience in these type of deposits. He analyzed satellite data, and he generated targets for us to follow up on during the field season. And we actually found new copper showings that way. The magnetic data has been processed by a group that has experience with IOCG deposits as well. And the same specialist that did our spectral survey is now again taking the magnetic data and incorporating that into a structural framework. So we take a lot of care to acquire data, but also to post-process it and to interpret it, to tie everything together so that when we do get to drilling, which won't be this year, but likely the year after that, we know exactly how to target the mineralization on the claim. So again, GOCO on the CSE. Feel free to follow us along. Thank you.